Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Teacher's Lounge. And with me today, I've got my fabulous wife, Lauren Webster, once again. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, had a good day?
Busy, yeah.
Yeah, shot a wedding today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Lauren obviously works in a school, but she's also a wedding photographer as well. So, yeah, been busy.
Yeah, mental.
Well, speaking of busy, we are going to talk about school trips today. And I know some people love them, some people hate them. Where do you stand?
In the middle, depending on the trip.
They're okay, is your opinion?
No, I do love a trip.
It does depend on the trip.
Yeah.
Because there's teachers out there that'll go, if I've got to do a lot of stuff, it's a bad trip. But if I just get to sit down and like have a piece of cake while the kids are like free and contained, that's a hell of a trip.
Yeah. Also, organisation. If the teacher's very organised, amazing. If they constantly do head counts, amazing. If they're a bit lapsadaisy, not so amazing.
Ever lost any kids on a trip?
No, I personally haven't, but I know of people that have left them in toilets.
Not me, by the way.
No. I won't name drop. But yeah, I know some that have gone and left pupils in toilets before now. And I'm one of them that constantly head counts.
Like you said, depends where it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Chester Zoo, constantly head counting.
Nightmare. I mean, it is stressful, and that's the worst case scenario, isn't it? Losing one of your children. That's the worst thing, or someone getting seriously hurt.
Oh, yeah. I've had some hurts over the years.
Some owies.
Yeah, some serious owies.
Go on.
Oh, the one was a lovely trip. We were really enjoying it. We were sat eating cake, some of it, while watching the children playing a soft play.
So you were at soft play.
Soft play, yeah, real good. Massive place, loads of slides, loads of things to do. Kids absolutely loved it. Brilliant trip. We went quite a few years in a row.
Soft play, though, should be quite safe.
Well, you would think so.
Or was it a freak?
I think it's a freak accident. Of all the years we went, never had anything like this before. Yeah. So all of a sudden, miss, loads of boys running over to me, a bit hysterical. What's the matter? So-and-so's hurt. Quick, come. So come running over, found him, massive, huge, like pregnancy balls is all I can explain.
Oh, yeah.
In like a netted arena. And you can just like run into them, bounce on them, sit on the top of them. Anyway, one lad has bounced on the top of it, come off into the netting.
The safety netting.
And he's turned around and looked at me, and all of his teeth are like this.
What, like pointing outwards?
Pointing outwards, like all bent up. It looked like something off a horror film.
Were they his adult teeth as well?
No, they were his. Well, I think maybe a couple of them were. So it was that bad. We had to stop the trip there and then.
Put the cake down.
Put the cake down, put the tea down, count everyone, get them back on the bus, straight back home. We were about an hour and a half away, on the phone to his mum, trying to keep him calm because he was in so much pain and he just looked like he'd been massacred in the mouth. It was awful. The ropes of the safety netting had literally just gone up and under his teeth and like ripped them up. It was a freak accident. I doubt it's ever happened ever again in one. It was just boys will be boys, bouncing on him probably a bit too hard, and just the angle it knocked him straight onto it.
Ouch.
Yeah, he had to go through serious dental work, I think, after that. It was...
And now he's probably got a phobia of soft play areas.
Maybe. Well, he's quite old now, so probably not.
Oh, wow.
If he ever watches this, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a serious injury on a trip. I've been quite lucky so far. I've had a really good run, to be fair.
That was my worst to date, and that was like in my first few years of qualifying.
I think the worst I've had is someone was sick.
Yeah, sick.
That's it.
Accidents.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm trying to think now anymore.
I remember when I was in school, because we for us as teachers, school trips can be a bit of a faff because there's the organising. You've got to sort out the budget. Can we afford this? A lot of the time, you have to go and ask the parents. Any contributions and things like that. So, like for us, it's a bit of a faff. And what I'm always really conscious that I don't want to be that teacher that goes, "Oh, let's go to the historical Victorian museum because we've been learning about the Victorians in our topic. Let's go to the Victorian museum." And I think as a kid, I'd be like, "Oh."
Saying that,
Oh.
I've been on a year 3-4 trip to Blist Hill,
Oh, that's
which is
different.
Victorians.
Yeah,
It's an
but
amazing trip.
That's different. But I'm saying something like that would obviously be a no-no.
Well, as a child, I went to the Egyptian Museum in Liverpool, and one of my favourite trips. It was so interesting, but I really like history.
Yeah, but that's yeah.
My friend Kelly probably would be like, nah.
Okay, I've given a bad example. What I mean is, out of all the trips that you could pick as a teacher, sometimes the teachers pick trips that are easier for them and therefore that aren't as necessarily as fun for the kids.
Yeah.
And I remember being in school, we'd go on some trips that were just, what is the point? Well, why are we here? And then other trips are just, yes, this is brilliant, fun, engaging. So I'm always really mindful now when we do a trip. I always try and think, if I was in this class, would I enjoy this? And like you said, I think about different kids too. I put myself in one of the girls' shoes. Think, right, if I was a girl, would I enjoy this? Is it suitable? And I think that helps to get a really good trip.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with the panto.
Oh yes, you can.
Oh no, you can't.
Yeah, they love the panto.
Oh no, they don't.
All right.
We could go all day.
Yeah, the panto is good.
Yeah, that's a solid. I think everyone enjoys that. Like
Really?
teachers, pupils. It's a lot of organising.
Yeah, the only thing with the panto, because obviously you sat down, they're contained. What I don't like is when it's time for the toilet.
Yeah, I don't
So we
like that
took
either.
the whole school, didn't we? So we're talking
Yeah.
like 300 kids.
And there's other schools.
Plus, there's
and
like
public.
4 other schools because the seating capacity in there is like easily 1,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously the break is at the same time. Everyone wants to go to the toilet, but then during the middle you get different kids asking to go to the toilet. That's stressful.
Yeah, that is stressful. The last time I stayed with the children and didn't have to go, so it was great.
Yeah, so my
I handed the sweets out.
take a couple. My experiences and my trips have always been really good. I've been really lucky so far, so I feel like something's due. But do you remember the in our school, the famous year 5 and 6 residential trip?
Oh, that was horrific.
So
I was glad I was in the infants in that year.
And me. So this was Christmas time, late
Was it
November.
2017?
Yeah, it was.
It was a few years ago now.
Oh yeah, it was way before COVID. So yeah, the year 5 and 6, 3 classes of them, 30 kids, so like 90 kids because it's 3 classes. Went up to the residential to stay little, and it's in the middle of nowhere, no phone signal, and it's a retreat. You do some nice activities, canoeing, blah blah blah.
Raft making.
Lovely.
I went when I was a kid.
Yeah, so did I, and I got another funny story later on.
It's my favourite trip, I think that was.
Yeah, great trip. Anyway, one kid came down ill, didn't they? Sickness, and oh gosh, not ideal.
Rang his parents.
Well, it took a while because it was hard because there was no service, and they had to try and use the landline. But I don't think they had all the numbers that they needed. Some were like outdated from the system. But yeah, the one kid was sick, and then slowly another kid. Oh, I feel sick. And then
and then a teacher was sick.
Yeah, and then by the night, they had like 6 kids and a teacher that had been sick and vomited, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this could." But then a storm hit that night, and it was Storm something. It was a serious one because it had a name. Storm Angus or whatever, you know.
Storm sickness.
Yeah. And they were like, it's too dangerous to ask people to come and collect because the weather.
And I think it knocked some of the signal
lot,
out. hadn't
yeah,
it?
a lot of
They were
trees were
struggling
down,
to get hold of
and
parents.
there was I think there was a red warning out saying you only travel if it is absolutely necessary.
But as a parent, you would know that if your child's sick, you would want to be there.
Yeah, but they're
because
safe
they only
there.
want you.
Yeah. So anyway, they thought maybe it's just, you know, that group of something, and then as the night went on,
More kept being sick.
And
more teachers.
Yeah, and the head said, the next day, for the next night, they had the big reception room or the hall room, and they're all like in there.
It was made into like a little mini hospital.
Yeah,
wasn't
it looked
to
like
keep
a
them
war
all in.
hospital, just lying in rows with buckets next to them, being sick.
Well, and they'd run out of buckets because there were so many.
Yeah.
They were having to use whatever could hold
So
it.
they had to just see it out and wait for the storm to pass so that parents could then come up. And then it was so bad. It was norovirus, and it was so bad that the next week, the Monday starting school, I remember going into work, and a member of staff came in and said, they're shutting the school.
Well, yeah, we had I remember having about 10 children in our class that turned up that day. That was it, because everyone else had it.
Yeah, they're like, they're shutting the school, and it had to be deep cleaned for like 2 or 3 days.
And it was right close to Christmas too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like November time.
That was the Christmas. We were sick.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I was sick Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, and you were sick Christmas Day.
Yeah,
and then your parents came up Christmas Day for food. We couldn't eat anything, could we? And then they had it Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So it did the rounds.
Serious stuff, yeah. But speaking of Stay Little, we went there in high school, and it was so good. And what we used to love was you'd be with your mates in one room, and like we'd have bunk beds, and you know you could stay up late, but you had to be quiet. So
who brings the snacks?
Yeah. And it was so funny. We thought we were being quiet, but we were obviously making a bit of noise. And our teacher, Mr. Loxham, Jamie Loxham, who played football with, a really good friend.
He was your PE teacher?
He was my PE teacher, yeah. He was my PE teacher at the time. And obviously he was doing the residential. And he like opens the door, and it's pitch black. Oh no, we turned the light off because we could hear him coming in. He comes in. He's like, right, come on, boys, time to go to sleep now. I'm like, oh, sorry, sir, sorry. And he's like, right, make sure are you all in your own beds, and you know you're all where you should be. Yeah. He's like, right, okay. So he slowly shuts the door, and it's pitch black. You couldn't see. Slowly shuts the door. And my friend Ryan said something like, "Oh, you know, flipping hell, something, you know, something not very nice." And then I said, wouldn't it be really funny if Mr. Loxham was still here listening to us now?
He was.
And he just went, go to sleep, boys. And then literally,
then Ryan was like,
the door shut again, but we didn't know if he was still there. So we just didn't say anything for ages. But then some of the boys had fallen asleep.
Oh,
It was so
that's
funny.
right funny.
It was great.
Oh, so you went in high school?
Yeah.
In primary school?
No, we didn't go in primary school. I remember our primary school wanted a trip to Holland, and like parents had to pay for it, but like my parents couldn't afford to go.
Like it's a lot of money. I wanted to go to our high school did a Canada trip. It was like ridiculous. It was like nearly £1,000, I think.
Ours did a Canada trip too.
And I would love to have gone, but
Yeah.
no way.
But what's really funny now, the primary school trip that we had where they all the year group went to Holland. Now there's money set aside so that you can't leave a child behind if they can't afford trips.
Deprivation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's really, really, really good because
that's good because they didn't have that, I don't think, when we were in school.
Well, no, definitely not. Otherwise, I would have gone to Holland.
Yeah.
But it's really good because obviously now, if a child or a family cannot afford to go somewhere, even if it's like £20, for the panto,
Yeah.
they still get to go.
It's good. We are way more inclusive now.
Yeah, definitely.
Which back then it was like, well, can't go.
Yeah.
Kid misses out.
Yeah. What I have experienced though, on the negative side of that, is certain parents have got wise to this money.
Yeah.
And they just refuse.
Definitely.
They just refuse to pay.
Yeah.
And
I see where because other parents get annoyed then because obviously they don't want their child to miss out, and everyone would prefer to spend that money on something else, but you obviously don't want your child to miss out. So I understand when the parents get annoyed that so and so gets it paid for and they still have to pay. Yeah. It's frustrating.
Do you know what our topic is in our year 3, 4, now when we go back?
I don't know.
Chocolate, yeah.
Cadbury's World. Although I have been on a trip to Cadbury's World.
Careful what you say now.
And Something World. Chocolate World.
Other brands of chocolate.
There is other brands of chocolates available. Kinder, all sorts.
And other brands. Stop naming brands.
Sorry. There's also gluten-free options. Yeah, I've been there. And you know what? They don't give out as much chocolate as you think.
Well, I remember you saying this, but I've heard people going recently and they said it's great. But yeah, we were discussing it as staff, and we were saying Cadbury's World would be such a good place to go. And we have got a local chocolate maker coming in. Cocoa Pizzazz.
Yeah, there's also a Raider one too.
Oh, a bit far though. Anyway, so yeah, we've got those coming in.
Oh,
Cadbury's World, like that's a good trip.
Damn, I wish I was in 3, 4. I love chocolate.
Yeah, so
you have to bring some home for me.
But you know what I mean? We could have easily said, "Oh, for the trip, we'll go and
go to Tesco and have a look at the chocolate.
We'll just go and stare at the chocolate aisle."
Funny though, remember the trips we used to have to Tesco?
Yeah, they were good.
The school educational ones, they were really good.
They were good. But going back to chocolate, the new Willy Wonka film is coming out next year.
Who's the Willy Wonka going to be?
Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
I don't know, but
I have a feeling it's someone quite big.
But we've all, well, I'm not surprised. But yeah, anyway, we said we'll go and watch that as well.
Oh, that's good.
As part of the topic, and just have an absolute blast with it.
Going back to Tesco's, that trip, some funny stories from that trip because they would talk about where things come from.
Yeah.
So like, I had times when we were like, where do you think milk comes from? Well, the shop. No. Well, where does it come from? An animal. Pig. No. Like, it's surprising. Some children really don't know like where their food comes from. So that trip was really important. It's mad. Yeah.
So what's your best trip that you've been on, either as a teacher or like when you were a kid?
I loved the residentials when I was a kid. Llangrannog was my favourite. That was brilliant.
What'd you do there?
You go down to the beach. We saw a massive jellyfish on the beach. We came back and there was like dry ski slope, obstacle courses. I was really sporty as a child, so anything that had like sport involved, I was there. I loved it, yeah. And then we'd do games in the hall in the evenings, and you just
keep you busy.
Just get to be with your mates and things. There was just something all the time. You weren't ever bored.
Tell you what always makes me laugh though is you put on these amazing trips for the kids, and then they get back home, or as soon as they're off the bus, parents are like, "What have you done then?" "Oh, nothing.
Not a lot.
Nothing. Can't remember." And this funny story. My teaching assistants were telling me this. There was a girl and she went viral because the mum had posted, "I've just asked my little girl, what have you been up to today in school?" And she was like,
I think I've seen it.
She was like, "Nothing." And she goes, "Nothing? Like nothing exciting? You haven't done anything exciting today?" "No." "You haven't done anything like unusual?"
Wasn't she sat on a crocodile?
No. Yeah. And then the school posts pictures of what they've done, and she's
Yeah.
there holding an alligator like that.
Yeah, that was it.
It's like, oh yeah, I held an alligator today.
Oh yeah, I hold an alligator. Just so I could do that every day in school. Nothing exciting.
That's the
But
level
is
it
like
takes.
that. Like the children probably go home and say we've done nothing all day, when the actual facts are they have done so much in that day. They probably just can't pinpoint one thing that they've done.
That goes back to the episode we did a while ago where we were talking about behaviour management.
Yeah, that's true.
And we were saying the kids don't know they're born and they expect everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do all these great trips and it's just like,
oh, I just held an alligator.
well, they feel like they're entitled
Yeah.
to it, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, why shouldn't I be holding an alligator now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a best trip that I think I've been on as a TA, assistant teacher, I really liked I'm trying to think. Pantos. I love the panto trips. They're good. It makes sure the atmosphere for those, because it's so close to Christmas, is just magical. And to watch the awe on the children's faces, like I'll never forget the Cinderella panto. They had the carriage come off the stage, and it went up so high and just floated. And like to a child, it was like, as an adult, I was pretty impressed, but to a child, it actually looked magic. Like it was, and looking at the young girls' faces, they were just like so in awe.
All the boys
and
like
amazed.
this. Oh my god!
I know, even the boys were.
I know.
Even the boys were.
The boys were. So that trip, it wasn't that panto. I can't remember which one it was. It's the same boy again I spoke about, where he didn't realise that he had twins in his class. It was this boy. And these are the trips I love, where you take kids that are from like deprived backgrounds to experience these things that they would never normally experience. That's what it's all about. So we went to this panto. Obviously, he'd never ever been in a panto. Not that he was in the panto. He'd never sat and watched the panto in a theatre. So how did he say it? I think she came on and the fairy godmother and like introduced it, and he couldn't get to grips with it was real. He thought it was a big screen that was like but further down.
Yeah.
And he kept saying things like, is she real? Like, is the screen far away from me? And I said, no, it's not a screen. They're on a stage. Like, they're real people. It's like you and me, and they're just like walking around, and we're just watching them. Couldn't get it. So afterwards, I had to take him to the stage and be like, see? And like, I just got him up on the side step and be like, look, they were just standing on here. Mind blown. Just couldn't get it.
And that's why I think trips are so important, because you will always have those children that aren't open to these experiences and get these opportunities. So it's so important that we can give them those opportunities. And going back to like you not being able to go to Holland, these children now have a bucket of money that can be inclusive to them and allow them to have these experiences. It's like, it's equality, isn't it?
Yeah, and I also remember, again in the infants, there was a girl that had never been to the beach, and it was the end of year trip, and we thought, weather forecast is really good, we'll go to the beach for our trip. Great, nothing to do with the topic, we'll just go for a great time. And this girl had never, we had to do, obviously you have to do like a little bit of work, and in our books we did something like, what are you most looking forward to doing or seeing at the beach? And she had no clue. She was like, I've never been to the beach. I don't know what. I don't even think she'd been outside the area. Parents couldn't drive, things like that.
It's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, she had a whale of a time. No pun intended. She had a great time.
I remember going to the beach trip once, and it rained. And I don't mean it rained a little bit. I mean like it absolutely poured. We got on the bus and it was lovely. And then got back on the bus after it. And we all looked like drowned rats. It was like, oh.
Can't control the weather.
No, can't control the weather. No. No, it just goes to show that like trips are so important.
Yeah.
For those, not just those children. Some of my best memories of schools is being on a school trip.
Yeah, definitely.
I also went to London actually.
Yeah,
on my school
we
trip
went to
primary school.
London. Yeah, we went to London too.
And that's the only time I've ever been to London. Was with my school trip. It's on the bucket list
Yeah,
to
they
go
are
back.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got any more funny stories of trips?
I'm trying to think back to when we were in school, because when we went on school trips as boys, we just wanted mischief, and they were an opportunity to be silly.
Oh, I had a school trip once. It was in high school. We stayed at a local manor house, and because there were so many of us staying, this manor house couldn't hold us all in it. So some of us went into like a cottage just down the road, but it was on the grounds of this manor house. And it was only a couple of us staying in there. I can't even remember if a teacher was staying in there with us or not. Well, anyway, we were all supposed to be up at this manor house, but me and a couple of my mates, we were like, we'll just stay down here, shall we? So we were down there hiding in the woods around this cottage, and the deputy head comes down to find us. Well, we all scarpered. We hid in the cottage. Some of us were in the cupboards. Some of us were under the bed. We were just anywhere we could hide. We just hid. And I just remember the deputy head, who was like a really, really tall bloke. Like, I'm not exaggerating. He must have been 6'9",
So
something like that.
Don't hide on top of the cupboard.
Don't hide. Well, I couldn't have got on top of the cupboard, could I? No, I was in the cupboard. And I just remember him opening the cupboard doors and going, "What are you doing in there?" And me and my mate just go, "Oh, we lost something. We're just looking for it." And he just said, "Out now, back up to the house." And there was like 8 of us. We all just come out from hiding. Some were in the bed, some were hiding under behind the curtains. Some of us were in the wardrobe. So we literally just scarpered and ran out like rats back up to the manor house. It was so funny. Yeah. That was a good school trip. That was supposed to be revision for our GCSEs. That was. I did do really well in my GCSEs.
Sounds like you did a lot of revising.
Yeah. No, in the day. By day we did. By night we got up to all sorts, yeah. But no, that was another fun school trip.
Yeah, sounds very fun.
Yeah. Me, Kay.
Flies in them, by the way.
Oh, God, is it? That's okay. You can't tell from this angle.
That's going in.
No.
Oh, thanks guys again for watching, and thanks for listening on the podcast. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us out loads, and we will see you on the next episode.